LOL, me again, minus the crazy wig, but with the makeup. Me and Stephen King are doing my shelves, are starting to move things and tear completely apart. And I figured, you know what? I feel like maybe trying my hand at one more book tag or something before I start blasting music and really getting into the whole reorganization thing. So I found this one the other day and thought it would be maybe cool to do. It is called The Ultimate Book Tag, and I found it on the Splendid Shambles blog, and originally it was created by Megan on Goodreads. So, yeah. So, let's just do this tag, I guess. So, first question is, do you get sick while reading in the car? And the answer to that is yes. Unfortunately, I do. I am not someone that can read while in the car, which kind of sucks. I also can't watch anything or play the DS or do anything while I'm in the car. I can honestly barely do that on an airplane either. I get motion sick pretty easily during that. So, I usually listen to, well, when I was growing up, I listened to Harry Potter audiobooks while we were on car trips, and later on, and honestly still now as an adult, I will put headphones on and listen to music and make sad music videos in my head as we drive by different sites. So yeah. Let's see, number 2 is, which author's writing style is completely unique to you and why? So I have 2 answers to this. One would be Kurt Vonnegut. I first read him back in high school, I believe. We read Slaughterhouse-Five, and that really had an impact on me back then. I didn't really understand what was going on a lot of the times in that book, but his style is so strange and kind of out there and really quirky. So I would say I've never really encountered anything quite like his style before, or since, really. And then the other one I would say would be Howard Frank Mosher. This is my favorite of his books, Stranger in the Kingdom. All of them take place in Vermont, and while I wouldn't say there's anything particular about his style that is really different, I guess, than other stories about the past, or reflecting on childhood or anything like that, there is something about his writing that just sucks me in. I mean, I really do enjoy reading, and it is one of my favorite pastimes, but there are very, very few authors who completely and utterly draw me in to the story so much that I look up and don't realize that it's been 8 hours and I haven't, eaten anything. And he's kind of one of those authors. So I don't really know how to explain it better than that, but yeah, that's who comes to mind also. Number 3 is Harry Potter or Twilight, and give 3 points to defend your answer. Oh boy. So I have consumed Twilight. I did a little unwillingly back in the day. And I would have to say, hands down, it's going to be Harry Potter. Harry Potter is life. Harry Potter is a great mixture of fantasy and a little bit of mystery. It's about relationships, friendships, finding family, a little bit of romance here and there, and yeah, it's just a great series, and it tries to teach you, sometimes it's hard to stand up to people, but you should do it. And you should also remember that sometimes you have to stand up to your friends too, when you need to. And you should try to do what's best, and try to stand up against the dark in the world, and make a difference, and don't accept defeat. And it just teaches these great lessons. And I mean, it does have its flaws too. Its representation for some characters is not the greatest. It has, I guess, weirdly developed romances here and there, but I mean, overall, as a series, I think it's wonderful, and it does have some great character development. And Twilight is basically, like Stephen King said, Twilight is about the importance of having a boyfriend. And I mean, I've seen the movies, I read the books. I didn't really see much character development, so yeah, sorry if that's upsetting. Question number 4. Do you carry a book bag, and if so, what's in it? I don't carry a book bag, technically anymore. I carry a purse, but my purses are kind of, so I have it's like a big bag, it's like a big purse, and then I carry like one of those smaller backpack things, sometimes, and I do put books in there, usually just one at a time, but I mean, it has the rest of my crap in there. It's got mints, it's got peppermint oil, it's got gum, it's got my wallet, and tissues, and cough drops, and girl things, and just everything that I could possibly potentially need when I'm out in the world and not at home or anything. So, yeah. Number 5. Do you smell your books? Yes, I do. It doesn't matter if they're old, new, whatever. I tend to smell my books. I do have a couple of other books that are like about tarot cards and stuff like that I got from new agey shops. So it's really nice to smell those books because they still kind of hold on to a little bit of that incense and sage and everything that was, around them. So yeah, I smell my books. Number 6. Books with or without illustrations. So I don't really mind either way. I would say that flipping through a book that is not necessarily geared towards middle grade or young adult, just a regular adult book, and flipping through it and suddenly seeing like a full page illustration, or seeing like the top, the little wow, I'm forgetting the technical term for it, but the beginning of the chapter where they have like the chapter name or whatever. Okay, so having like a little illustration there, that's something extra. That's something nice that I really like. Let me see, like this book that I'm gonna show you, this just having like a full page illustration, I appreciate that. That's nice. It's a nice little touch. It's cozy. But I don't mind it if there aren't illustrations either. It's fine either way. Number 7. What book did you love while reading but discovered later it wasn't quality writing? I would say that's probably children's mysteries, mostly Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. I devoured Nancy Drews when I was a kid. I was pretty into Hardy Boy as well, but and I do have some of them. I'm slowly trying to collect like first editions of Nancy Drews, but so I do really love them. They do have a special place in my heart. It's really, those and my grandma's love for Murder, She Wrote are what really got me into mysteries when I was a kid. So I I really do enjoy them, but reading them or rereading them as an adult, I can tell they're not the greatest ever, but they are geared towards a younger audience, so they're not always as well developed as like adult mysteries, and I guess maybe that's a given, but yeah. Number 8, do you have any funny stories involving books from your childhood? I would say, okay, so I have 2 funny stories involving books from my childhood, and the first one is when I was very little. I think I might have been like 2 or 3. My aunt loves this story. I was about 2 or 3, so I wasn't reading yet. But I was read to like all the time, and I loved looking through picture books. And my aunt had me. We were shopping at the store, and she had me up in the front of the cart, holding a little picture book or something. And I'd read it so many times, or not really read it. I'd had it read to me so many times that I had the whole thing memorized. So we're walking down the aisles, and I'm flipping through this thing, and I'm chattering away to myself, telling myself the story. And this guy kind of looked at me and did a double take, because here's this tiny little girl sitting in the seat just reading, and he thought it was like a Matilda thing or something. He was like, is she actually reading that? But I wasn't, so there's that. And the other one that's kind of funny is when I was older, I don't remember how old I was, but it was whenever the 5th Harry Potter book came out. So I think I was in high school, junior high school, sometime around there. And it had gotten, unfortunately, this shouldn't be a spoiler because Harry Potter's been out for so long, so you should know by now. I'm sorry if this is spoiling for you. But when Sirius unfortunately dies, I got to that part, and I was home from school because it was during the summer, and my mom was at work, and I was just minding my own business reading, got to that part, and I called her because I had to tell her. And I actually panicked her for a few seconds, because when she picked up the phone, there's me sobbing on the other end going, she killed him! She didn't know what was wrong. She thought someone had actually died. And because I'm just blubbering into the phone, yelling about how she killed him, and I was very sad. So, yeah. Number 9. What is the thinnest book on your shelf? I did look around, and I believe that this is the thinnest book on my shelf. It is a copy of Mr. Darcy's Night Before Christmas. I got me and one of my besties this. It's just, I don't know, it's really cute. It's like the night before Christmas, but to do with Mr. Darcy and Lizzie, and it's pretty, I don't know, I think it's really cute. So yeah. And then number 10 is, what is the thickest book on your shelf? And I think it's possible that the 5th Harry Potter book is in fact the thickest. Sorry, it's all the way behind everything up there. I haven't gotten to that part yet, so I'm not tearing it down yet. But this big boy, The Count of Monte Cristo, I think is probably also one of the thickest books on my shelf. It is a big boy, which is why I haven't gotten around to reading it quite yet. But yeah. Number 11. Do you write as well as read, and do you see yourself in the future as being an author? I do write as well as read. I actually went to school for that. So I do write. I write a lot of different things. When I was younger, it was a lot of poetry, mostly, little tidbits of stories here and there. but as an adult, I've been trying to write books. I have about 2 that I work on off and on. One that I just won Nano with this past November. That is almost complete. I have some chapters left to write, and then I have a whole bunch of editing that I have to finish doing so I can try to, actually get published. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can consider myself a published author at some point, maybe, God willing. So, yeah. Number 12, when did you get into reading? I would say I have always been into reading. I would say that is something that has always been close to my heart. I was always read to from when I was a baby, pretty much. So books have always been really special to me. I think I was either 4 or 5 when I first started reading. I'm not sure exactly when, but I do know it was before I started kindergarten, because by the time I got to kindergarten and my teacher kind of pulled us all aside individually to check where we were with our reading levels, I know that I surprised her because I read beyond what a kindergartner normally reads. I think I read at like a 2nd or 3rd grade level at the time, so she was, pretty excited about that. So I do know it was before kindergarten that I actually did learn to read myself. Number 13, what is your favorite classic book? I would say that I really, really love Jane Austen. So I really, really love like Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion and Northanger Abbey. I would say that those are some of my favorites, but I think the one I've loved the longest would be Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. I had one of the great illustrated classics, those ones that were like the abridged version of the tales, and I like the pictures on every other page. I had one of those, and I think I first read that when I was maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9, and I really, really, really loved that version. And then I think maybe I'd gotten into like 6th or 7th grade when I actually found the full version of the book, and read it and still really loved it. So yeah, I would say this is probably my ultimate favorite. And I know now, reading it as an adult, there's some parts in this that are a little kind of problematic, but I mean, it's the adventure and the character development in Phileas Fogg that I really come back for all the time. So yeah, I would say this is probably my ultimate favorite out of all of them, I guess. Number 14. In school, what's your best subject, language, arts, or English? Actually, it was not. I did do fairly well in those sometimes, but not always. I would say, it's been a while since I was in school, but I think I remember, I mean, when I got to college, it was different because I was majoring in it. But when I was like growing up and like in high school mostly, I think my best subject was honestly Spanish. That was something that I really liked and that I did really well in. So yeah, my best grades were Spanish. And sometimes just random classes. Creative writing was one of them, so that's kind of language arts, and other ones related to like history and theater and stuff like that. I did pretty good in those too as well. So Number 15. If you were given a book as a present that you had read before and hated, what would you do? So, what I would do in that case is I would most likely still keep it. Because unless it was a book that was given to me with ill intent, I would not get rid of it. If it was, let me think. What's the book that I really don't like? Jane Eyre. Okay. Say someone gives me Jane Eyre as a present. I know that they're probably thinking, oh, she likes Jane Austen, she's gonna like Charlotte Bronte. Not true. But I mean, their intention was, hey, I picked out this really good present for you, here you go. So I would feel really bad about, not accepting it or giving away something that was given to me as a gift. So I probably would still keep it. And I don't know, maybe give it another try and see if I felt differently about it, if it's been like a span of time since the first time I read it. But yeah. Number 16. What is a lesser known series that you know of that's similar to Harry Potter or the Hunger Games? So I didn't really consume the Hunger Games. I'm not a total dystopian fan. I mean, there are a couple of books that kind of deal with that I like Fahrenheit 451 or V for Vendetta. Like I do like that kind of thing, but in general, I'm not a dystopia kind of person because it just sets off my anxiety for some reason. So, we're gonna leave Hunger Games. It's the short of it. We're gonna leave that off to the side. So if something's kind of similar to Harry Potter, I would say the two things that come to mind that are similar to Harry Potter would be the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend and also Percy Jackson series. So, but even then, I would not say that they're lesser known because Nevermore is really popular right now, and because it's been, it's come out fairly recently, and there's a huge fan base of Percy Jackson. So, I mean, I don't know, but those are the only ones I can really think of. Chronicles of Narnia, but that's a classic. Everybody knows that. So I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna go with that because I can't really think of a lesser known series that I've actually consumed. So yeah. What is a bad habit you always do while filming? Probably ums. I say ums a lot. I have always sucked at public speaking, and it's just an automatic thing that comes out is ums and ahs and I dunnos, and probably also touching my face. I can't help it. I get an itch. My hair gets in my face. I'm sorry. That's just how yeah. So, what is your favorite word? Is question 18. I have, see, there we go, ums again. I have two answers to this one. My favorite words. One would be opulent. I just love the way it sounds. I love the way it kind of rolls off your tongue. And I would say my other favorite word would have to be masticate because it sounds dirty, but it actually is not. So, number 19. Are you a nerd or a geek? I guess I would say probably both. Because geeks are kind of like fans of things and collectors of things, and I definitely am a fan and a collector of things. I think I've already showed you my Back to the Future things. As you can see, I have quite a few pops. I've got Stephen King and Ron Weasley and How to He from Host Club and Van Gogh and about 5 million other ones that are kicking around my house. So I definitely a geek, but I would also say I'm also kind of a nerd because I guess you'd have to be a nerd if you get wicked excited like I do about the randomest historical shit. So yeah, both. Question number 20. Vampires or fairies, and why? I would have to say vampires. I'm not into them as much as I was when I was a teenager, but I still really enjoy that trope of having just vampire stories be about vampires or having vampires somewhere in there. Also, I don't fuck with fairies. So, there we go. 21. Shapeshifters or angels? Shapeshifters all the way. I find that fascinating, and I also have a story I've been kicking around for like 5 years or so about shapeshifters, so it's something that I'm into. 22. Spirits are werewolves. That's a tough one. I find werewolves interesting, again, like the whole shapeshifter thing. And werewolf lore is very interesting. I remember seeing like this really cool werewolf lore about like werewolves in Ireland or something, but I am a huge ghost hunter nerd, and I'm really obsessed with the paranormal, so I guess for that one I'm gonna have to go with spirits. Number 23. Zombies or vampires? Definitely vampires. I cannot abide zombies. I can no. In my opinion, the only good zombie is that dude from Hocus Pocus, and that's about it. Everyone else can just go die of the burning fire. Number 24. Love triangle or forbidden love? I'm honestly kind of over both of those, tropes used in novels, shows, anime. I'm just kind of over it. But if I had to choose between the two, I guess love triangle is easier to deal with than forbidden love. Forbidden love just, it never ends well, and it's super over dramatic and ridiculous and just terrible. So I guess love triangle. And the last question is full-on romance books or action-packed with a few love scenes mixed in? So for this one, I'm gonna have to go with both, actually, because I do really love straight up romance novels. I do find them to be a lot of fun. Sometimes they're a little cheesy, but it's still enjoyable because at the end of the day, it's a very comforting read. Sometimes when the world just feels really shitty, it's really nice to be reassured when you're reading a book that at the end of it, everything's gonna be okay. Like, the world is going to be right, the characters are gonna get together, it's gonna be just a happy ending. But at the same time, I really like romance novels that have action in it, like a lot of the stuff that Nora Roberts writes. And I also really like, I do like action novels with like love scenes in it, are just little romantic aspects in it. I do have to say that's a nice little surprise to get in there. So, that would be it. So that is that book tag. A little bit of a long one. I am going to go back to pulling all of my shit apart. If anyone is interested in seeing one of those like bookshelf tour things at some point, I am thinking about that would be kind of a cool way to do it, but I am currently, if you can't tell by the weird quality of video, I'm working off of my laptop. My husband's let me borrow his microphone, so you can at least hear me now. But yeah, I'm working off of a laptop, so I can't really do a traditional tour, I guess, because it's gonna be just shaky and crazy. Sorry, that's how it's going to look if I try to do that. So I'll have to figure out some other way of handling that. If anyone is, if you're watching this and you're interested in that, I mean, let me know. I suppose I could always just like create stacks of books and just hold them up for you one at a time and be like, I have this and this and this and this. So I don't know. Let me know, I guess. Thanks for watching this. It's very long. Sorry about that. So signing off now from Still in Quarantine. Bye.